Hi there, this is Mike at ReachKeep.com and welcome to video number 2. This is the one on how to conduct effective contacts with young families. And we're going to teach you some things on here that are very simple. These are truths that have been around for years and years and years. In fact, this is our most popular of the 4 videos. This has the highest watch number. And so I want you to just soak it all in the best you can. Because folks, you need to learn how to connect with people. And this is one of those videos that kind of gives you a few tips on that. It is super, super important. Let me summarize it in just kind of a short little phrase that I learned long ago. And this will help you. It's remember this phrase, people who love kids. Let me say it again. People love people who love kids. If you love the children, if you love the teenagers, if you love the boys and girls that belong to these young moms and dads, it's going to take you a long ways in reaching these young families. There'll be people who won't agree with your doctrine. They won't agree with your church. They won't agree with your heritage. A lot of things in these new families that we reach out to, that they will come because you have cared for their children. So I want you to just sit back, take some good notes on this one. I'll meet you here at the end of this video, and we'll talk a little bit more. But just dive right in and learn how to make very effective contact and communication with the young families. So I'll see you here in just a little bit. All right, here we are. This is video number 2 at ReachKeep.com. I'm Mike Holmes, and we got my name tag even on here today. Good to have you on this video. I hope you got to the first one. This is number 2 in steps, 4 steps to getting your first new young family. It is so important that we begin to reach out to new young families in our churches. You know, age just kind of happens, and while we can be doctrinally straight and have great missions programs and liturgically correct in all sorts of ways, every day the clock goes all the way around another time, and every one of us get older. And as we get older, we know what happens. Folks start to drop off the enrollment for a variety of reasons, from moving and retiring to going to nursing homes, etc., all the way to, of course, the ultimate going to meet the Lord. But while we're here on this earth, we have been given a great commission, and that is to reach out to the entire world. Now, what we have done and what this is about, this program here, are steps. And everybody knows what steps are about. You know, we've got these ladders here, and I mean, we climb things and we move along things. These are steps to help you in your church, not necessarily with your doctrine. You probably got that figured out. Not necessarily with your, church polity systems. I'm assuming you got some of that well in hand as well. But it is how to reach out to those young families that are in your community. You know, they keep moving in, they keep kind of showing up, and maybe you're in a community where a lot of them move in and out like we are. We're in a very transient area. We are in, and I haven't shared all this with you, but we're out in central Wyoming. We're out where there's lots of jobs and lots of workers and people all over the place, moving in, moving out, related to the energy business. And we want to reach those families the best we can while they're coming in and out. And that's really what we have done here with our church plant in the last 8 years. We have primarily focused on young families, and we focus on young families just the same way that you would focus on a regional area or focus on what your giftedness is. You know, if you've got a great voice, maybe be a radio announcer. You know, if you're good with publishing, you might have a printing ministry. We happen to have children's background, so we work with children and have a lot of boys and girls that we have been able to reach. And it's not just the children, but reaching their families is what this is all about. So these are the steps to help you figure out how to reach those young families in your community. And by the time you're through with all 4 of these videos, we want you to be well on the way towards reaching your very first young family. Now, we have some other training beyond this, and our Reaching Young Families Through the Local Church online training course. I'll give some announcements about that. Enrollment will be open on that soon. It's not open right now, but you can constantly check at reachkeep.com on our website and look for that. But this is just local church training from reachkeep.com. That's what we're all about. Now, I want to give you some slides here, so we're going to kind of move through some slides. This is designed to be a step-by-step guide for reaching and keeping those new young families that come into your community or are being born into your community or transferred into your community, however it is. And we're going to do a little bit of review here from the last time. There are really 4 basic steps, and this is from the last video. These will be on the next 2 videos, and we covered one. We're going to cover another. Last time we covered creating an acquisition event. I'll go through this in just a detail. If you missed it, I'll cover it real quickly. Today, we are covering making what we call KLT contacts, and we'll go into that in depth in just a couple slides here. And then we need to talk about creating what we call character-based training, an emphasis that your church needs to have to reach young families. In other words, like if you go to a baseball game, you want to go there because you want to see some excitement, maybe some fast plays, an out, a home run or two, a foul ball into your part of the stands, but you go there for a reason. And young families, while we would want them, as pastors, we'd want them to come because they're going to get eternal benefits and some of, all the Bible and the things that a church has to offer in that sense, the church also can offer beyond the eternal things is the practical things. And this is what they struggle with. This is character-based training. They want their children to be better. They want to be better moms and dads. And you know what? God's Word is loaded with that stuff, as well as the message of grace in Jesus Christ. And so we want to talk about how to offer some of those things. It's no different than offering, air conditioning and some of those things. You do that because it's just a wise thing to do. If your church has a drinking fountain, someone made a good decision a while back. If your church has carpet, someone made a good decision. People tend to like carpet. If your church has good training to help families be what they need to be, someone's been making some wise decisions. We'll deal with that in video number 3. And the last one we want to do is talk about this fertile landing environment where the good soil is, how to make good soil. And that'll be the last one, and you'll love that one. This one is for kind of a church-wide training. And by the way, all these videos, you are free to use these for training events and replay these for your people, your staff, your Sunday school teachers at whatever level that you need to. We give you permission. They're out there online, and we will have these available probably on YouTube and Vimeo and some other portals that you'll be able to get to those. So, all right. Now, let's go back a little review. Acquisition events. This is where you get to know people and how to kind of get to know them the very first time. You got to kind of acquire a name, a face, and some of that. Here we go. This is for children. Schedule a field trip styled kids event. And if you need more details, find the video that preceded this one, and you'll get the details on this. Secondly, aim towards elementary age kids. That's a very important thing if you're going to reach young families. Primarily, what we're talking about are families that would be called Gen X. Gen X people are generally born, and these are not hard and fast things, but Gen X people are generally born from 65 to 85. Right through that, the boom, the folks that are after the baby boomers. And so 65 to about 85, those are the people right now that have kids in elementary age, those grades. So you're going to aim towards those. You're going to have activities that are longer than normal. Most church activities are longer. We talk about this in the video. We'll touch on it a little bit today. The idea of building trust comes when you have children for a longer amount of time. You'll also include exercise, education, adventure, having a good time with kids. The more good time you have with the kids, the better they're going to come back. First question parents are going to ask when they come back, they're going to say, did you have what? Fun. Did you have fun? And that's what regular folks will ask their kids anytime they go on some type of sporting or outdoorsy type of event, an experience-based event. So they're going to ask that question. You want them to say, yeah, had a great time. It's fun. We went hiking. We did this. We learned about the Transcontinental Railroad. We learned about rocks. We learned about fossils. We learned about why the river comes through our town and where it starts and how it gets to the Mississippi River, and all of those kind of things. Parents love it when their kids learn that stuff. So that's a powerful thing. The next one here is meals. Make sure that you try to include a double meal type of situation. Changes the dynamic of the whole activity. They bring one, you provide one. And last of all, take lots and lots and lots of pictures. And we're going to talk about what to do with those pictures right now. So we have this review, create this acquisition event, and then make KLT contacts, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The other two videos will be coming out soon, and you'll be able to access those. Here we go. So let's talk about this thing. Make KLT contacts with all involved. What in the world does KLT mean? Here is what it means. KLT means to know, to like, and to trust. People always respond better when they know you, when they like you, and when they trust you. When you go to a store, you probably have a clerk or a place that you've begun to like, or you know them, a certain checker at the grocery store. You've created some type of relationship. People are relational animals, and there's nothing wrong with this. First of all, they need to know you, they need to like you, and then they need to, most of all, trust you. And so let's dive into this. You're going to make some contacts that have these elements. The first one is this, I highlighted here, this word know, where they get to know you. Let me give you some elements here. You can write these down. These will be really good for you here. Number one, familiarity is a powerful thing. When people see you on the streets, they see you here and there, all of that, that is such a good thing. They go, that's the pastor that took us on the trip. That's the youth worker that took us, over the hill when we went to the next town. That's the person that did that. That's a good thing. When there is a familiarity with you as a church person and with you as a local church leader and you as a church entity, we believe that the local church needs to be well known in its community. Now, you don't have to have, rock concerts and, all the social type of things, all that. We have a dinner, an elementary school dinner at our church. And so we get all the community people come to our church. We do a Thanksgiving dinner. They come, they're familiar with us. They're familiar with me. They're familiar with staff. Powerful thing is getting your name and your face out there. There's a second one here, as I mentioned, face recognition, where you are looked at and they go, that's my pastor, or that's the guy that took us on there. And you want your people to recognize, your children to recognize your workers. Because your workers are going to be out there in the grocery stores. They're going to see them all the time. They're going to be there all the time. And having that recognition, and by the way, this goes two ways. You recognizing those kids and saying, hey, that's my Sunday school kid. Hey, you came 2 weeks ago. Hey, you came to the activity. We hiked the mountain. That kind of thing. Keeping that recognition and that familiarity is just a powerful, simple tool. Pastor, if you're the pastor watching this, or church leaders, don't get locked in your office way too much when no one ever sees you and you only come out to preach, Moses coming down from the mountain kind of a thing. Be in your community. Let people know your face. Let people recognize you. The next one is let them know your name. We wear name tags here. Okay, Mike Holmes on this side here too. Okay, that one and that one. People see my name. They know who I am. They recognize me and know that I am involved with this church. Getting your name, and this would be your church name out there as well, is a powerful tool. The next one here, letting them recognize your vehicle. Okay, or the church van when you drop those kids off or pick them up. That's a powerful thing as well, getting out into the community there. If you don't have logos on your vehicles, you don't have a church van, we used to do it all the time with Vacation Bible School. We would have a little flyer made with the activity. We would just tape it on the window on the driver's side usually, because when you pull up to a house, that's usually the way that you pull up. You want to kind of pull into their driveway there somehow so they can see it. Put them on both sides if you need to. But anyway, get those things on there so people can see, hey, that's a church vehicle, and they know what that is all about. And then just this whole idea of instant recognition in your community, and this is where your church becomes the recognizable entity that works with kids, that does stuff with children in the community, that is the people who are involved. All of that is a knowledge type of thing. And you want to create visits and you want to create contacts that foster the knowledge of your church. Business cards, make sure that you have some of those. Flyers for the next activity, make sure you have some of those so they recognize you, recognize your name, your church name, and all that. So it's very simple, but it's just a review here. Now, this next one here is the like factor, that they would get to like you. Now, I think that there is pushback on this because sometimes we think, well, we need to make, I'm trying to think how that phrase goes. It's like, we need to make, the sinners shouldn't come to church and feel comfortable. Well, I hope they'd feel comfortable in the chairs anyway. Let's at least give them that. But let the Word of God do the convicting. And I agree, folks. Listen, if someone's living in sin and they're, they're living in a raunchy lifestyle, let the Holy Spirit do conviction, and they may not like us because of the Bible. But I hope it's only they don't like you because of the Bible, not because of your disposition, not because of your causticness, not because of your, bad breath or whatever. Good night. We need to let folks like us, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, Peter gives us this word here to just put up kindness, add to your faith virtue, and virtue. It says brotherly kindness that needs to be there. We need to have a level of kindness that emanates from us as Christians. God gave His Son for us. He loved us. We need to love them. In fact, here it is. We need to love parents and have a deep concern for those parents. Let me say something. If you run a bus ministry, you can fall prey to becoming very disrespectful towards parents. I have been there. I've gone out to those houses in the morning, tried to pick up those kids on Sunday morning, and the kids aren't even ready. And the parents are, they were out drinking or partying, and, the place is a mess. And you go, boy, those parents. And you start to become disrespectful towards the ones that God has called to raise those children. Now, as a church, we're here to help those parents do that, and we need to love those parents and help those parents and be a blessing to those parents. So make sure that you love on those parents and you compliment them the best that you can, even if they are not doing the best job. Love on those parents, and on top of that, love on the kids. Man, do stuff for them. Give them a balloon or give them a jelly bean. We had a pastor I worked with for a long time, and he always had a jelly beans in his pocket. And the kids would come, and they called him Pastor Beans. It was so cute. But he loved kids. And let me just say something. If you want to reach your community, don't forget this statement. People love people who love kids. Let me say that again. People love people who love kids. You love the children, and you will create a respect. People will love you and be a blessing to you because of your outreach to these kids. We have many, many people in our community that are far, far away from God. But you know what? They have a respect for us because we love the children of the community and are constantly doing all we can to help the children in many, many ways. So love the parents, love the kids, and that's that like factor. Let me give you another one. Use teachable moments. When you start to work with children and when there's a teachable moment there, and the parents will find out about this, or maybe they're even right there. Not too long ago, I was with a family, and a young boy did something somewhat disrespectful. I said, "Whoop, hold it right there. Hey, let's back up. You come stand over here." Now you walk right back by there again, and you make sure that you hold the door for that person and you don't just push yourself right into that crowd. Well, the mom was there, single mom. She saw it. She loves it when I help her teach her child how to have good manners. Use teachable moments, and when you do that, parents will love it because you can talk till you're blue in the face about manners, but if a person actually teaches these children how to do it, and when some kid disobeys or he dishonors somebody and you back them right up and say, let's practice that again and do it, parents love that. So using that will help those parents to have that respect and that like for you. Now, let me give you the last one here, and this is where you speak into their life. And this is where you speak into the parent's life, And we speak into the children's life as well, where you take time to just say, hey, let me give you a moment here, a thought. And you share with a parent what you think. I think you guys are doing a great job in this area. But there's something that I want to show you that I think would be helpful. Rather than raising your voice at a child, try to speak softly to your child in this area, or try to be a better example in this area. Now, that takes a little bit of that trust factor, which we'll get to in a moment. But these are the kind of things where you get to speak into the life of a child, into the life of a kid. The other day, a girl came in, and I had researched what her name meant. I got thinking about her during the week. I thought, oh, she's at church on Sunday, junior high girl. She came in. I said, do you know what your name means? And I went through the process, and I won't go say it here, but I told her what her name meant. And it's a very positive thing. And she comes from a very broken situation. And I said, your name has a very special meaning to it. And I gave her that meaning, and she started to glow. And I said, you need to live up to that. You are a special person. And you need to live up to that. And I pushed on her just a little bit there. I spoke into her life. Parents love it when they hear that you do those kind of things. So knowing people and have people know you and they like you. And now let's get to that last one. And it is dingo trust. And this is the big one. And it takes some time. Let me speak into your life here. There are ways where our churches don't project trust. They're simple, sometimes simple things. Let me go through them, and I don't want to be mean here, but I'm gonna poke a little bit on a couple of things. Number one here is keep your word. If a church activity is supposed to be done at 8:30 in the evening, it better be done at 8:30. In fact, let me give you a little thing I learned, and I did Vacation Bible Schools for a year. We'd have a closing program. We would tell the parents, why don't you come to our closing program? We're going to give out awards and Bibles and cool stuff. And we invited the moms and dads to come. We said it's about a 1-hour program. It starts at 6:30. It's over at 7:30. I knew something, and here's something I learned. If I went from 6:30 to 7:31, you know what I was? I was a skunk. Because I went a minute over. If I went from 6:30 to 7:29, I was a hero because I got them out early. I've learned there's a big difference between being a skunk and being a hero. And I would much rather be a hero than be a skunk. You use those extra 2 minutes, you blow it, and use those extra 2 minutes, it's going to cost you. And here's what I'm saying. Keep your word. If the kids are going to come home at such and such a time, get them home at such and such a time. If they're going to come home clean or dirty or whatever, you keep your word. We've done some activities, told parents ahead of time, hey, kids are going to get wet. They came home wet. If you don't tell them that, there's some tension there. Some kids can maybe have gone with their good clothes on. Their parents didn't want them to do that. So keep your word. That's a trust builder. And by the way, the more activities you run and the more you bring them home early, the higher the investment is. The trust level goes up and up and up and up because you are making investments. Let me give you another one. Keep those kids safe and secure. A lot of people ask, why do you wear that lanyard? Okay. Our lanyards, we have all our staff people wear lanyards. We do background checks. The pictures and the colors mean different things to us. We know who is gluten-free. We know who's not gluten-free. We know who's approved to work with children, who's not approved to work with children. We do background checks on everybody. Folks, powerful thing is keeping those kids safe and secure. Take time to make sure children are safe, that your van is not a piece of junk. Okay, that you're traveling in something that is safe and secure, that you're checking kids in, you're checking kids out, that you're getting them back on time, all of those things, safety and security. All of our workers wear logoed shirts. We have shirts so when we go out visiting, they know that we're from the church. There's a level of security that comes with that. That's a trust factor. The more I do that in the community, the more I do that in the community, the more I do that, the trust goes higher, 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 higher. So get yourself some lanyards. You can even probably buy some of these from us. I don't know if we sell them or not. But logoed shirts are not that expensive. Powerful thing when you're out there visiting. Let me give you another one here. Train a courteous and safety-conscious team. Not just you, but your team needs to be this way. Be the leader and speak frankly to them that they need to make sure that they open the van, that they walk kids to the vehicles. We always have someone walk a kid to their house. We always make sure someone checks into their house before we drop them off. We sign kids in. We sign kids out. We have a very intricate system that we have created, and it's nothing online or anything fancy. We just realize that safety and security is important. And I am, as the leader, need to make sure that I push that down throughout the system, and I have a courteous and safety-conscious team. A while back, I had a van driver that was very impatient, and he would go to pick some kids up for an activity, and he would sit in front of their house and lay on the horn. It was crushed. He's since moved away, don't have that problem anymore. But folks, that kind of stuff is bad. We will, for a long time, we will live with that. The guy that honked the horn, it just hurt us. It hurt us bad. But you know what? I didn't train him. I just thought, hey, he can drive a van. How many people are driving your van, but you never taught them how to do it? Never taught them how to pull up to a vehicle, but, take the kids out on the passenger side, when you pull up with a van, circle around the block. The kids are going, why, you missed our house. We're driving around the block the wrong way. I said, no, we're going this way so I can drop you off so the kids could get out on that side without having to cross the street. All of those things. Take time to do that. We have a VIP meeting that we have every Sunday morning. We have probably 25, 30 people show up at this meeting that's 45 minutes before our first service, and we talk about how to be courteous and how to be safety conscious and all of these things. But create that team. That is your responsibility as a church leader to make sure that you are making know, like, and trust investments into your family. So make sure that team is courteous and safety conscious. Let me give you another one. Provide a valued service. In other words, if you're building trust, you are giving to parents what they think a church needs to give. Now, let me give you another one here, and you can find this. I'll put a link to it. Well, let me just tell you the link to it. It's called What Parents Fail. I'm sorry, I should have looked it up. Parents Fail Teachers. It's Sunday school teachers fail parents. That's it. Sunday school teachers fail parents. Parents don't, and we're talking about parents you're trying to reach now. We're not talking about church parents that are already there. We're not talking about godly people that were raised in a good church and all that. We're talking about people you want to reach. They've not been in church. When they send their kid to church, they don't want their kid to come home and quote all 66 books of the Bible in order, Old Testament and New Testament. But that's what we teach all the time. You know what they want? They want their kids to come home and obey. They want their kids to come home and control their tongue. They want their kids to come home and control their mouth. And so our teachers need to provide the right kind of stuff. We're going to talk about this next video, character training, how important that is. So I will get off my soapbox here, but provide a valued service. Make sure that you are bringing a trustable environment comes when you are providing the right stuff, is what I'm trying to say. And the last one here, okay, is you intend to repeat that activity. You go with the idea of like, hey, we're doing this again. We run these things over and over and over, and you build that trust factor into them. So repeating those activities are super, super important. All right, let's jump here to the purpose and wrap this up. All right, the purpose of these KLT contacts is to create an atmosphere of a serving and caring local church. Let me say that again. The purpose of KLT contacts is to create an atmosphere of a serving and caring local church. When the community people, and that's where these young families dwell out there in the community, they don't come to your church yet. When they are asked about your church, they need to know that it is a caring and a serving local church. They need to see that. They need to hear that. They need to hear the rumor mill has it that, man, they're the church for people with kids. That's what someone called us. They're the church that does that food distribution. They're the church that's really helping the community. They have the dinner there all the time. They're the ones that are helping out, running those programs for those kids. That needs to happen. So the KLT contacts set that. They create that atmosphere, that aroma, so to speak. In some churches or some towns, I'm afraid to say that the aroma of the local church is not a good aroma. It stinks, okay? They become so separated, they're isolated, and they're against everything. And folks, there are things to be against, but choose wisely. If you want to reach the young families of your community, man, you need to choose wisely what hill you're going to die on. A while back, I was working in a town. We worked hard to run a vacation Bible school, and we ran these evangelistic meetings, and we got to kind of a group together that want to start a church. This was kind of an evangelistic team I worked on. And we got in there, and we had a group of people, and we contacted a guy who was interested in coming to the area and starting a church, and he came into the area, and he wrote articles in the paper, and he put comments and stuff that just turned everybody off about the history of the town, how it was founded on whoredom and all this nasty stuff that happens out west here sometimes. Hey, every town out west here was founded on a bar and, bad things. I mean, that's just the way it is out here. But you can't say that. You've got to make sure that you create that caring and loving environment. Doesn't mean you don't stand for truth. It doesn't mean you don't preach against sin. It doesn't mean all of those other things. But folks, you've got to have that aura that you are serving and you are caring. That is the purpose of these KLT things. Now, let me give you some goals here. Here's how you do it. Personally visit each family, or personal visit to each family. Somebody gets to that family and talks with them. They talk to the parents about the adventure that happened. They show pictures. That's why we take pictures. They get those photos online or point them to Facebook where they can do it. You can take an iPad and some device and show them the pictures right there and say, hey, here's your kid on a jungle jib, and here's your kid on the crossing the stream, and here's the fish your kid caught, and just some neat things. But show those pictures and get them online to where they connect with that, and then friend those parents. In the literal sense on Facebook, it's called friending them. You friend them, and you'll be able to inform them of future activities. But friend them in just the way where you see them at the grocery store. You say, hey, Eddie, good to see you. Hey, Martha, I'm so glad your kid, came to the activity. Man, that's great. We got another one coming up in 2 weeks. It's going to be a blast, and we'd love to have your kid. And by the way, this Sunday I am teaching about parenting and how, parents can raise their children. And I'd love to invite you to our church. Those are the kind of things that you have to do. Those are some of the goals that are involved. And when you start to do these KLT contacts, you will begin to make that impact in your community. You'll begin to take those steps. That first one was that acquisition event. Second one, KLT. Now, why do we make the KLT things? Here it is, because people always, always, always respond better to people that they know and that they like and that they trust. They always do. I always do. You always do. Getting people to know you. I mean, they actually got to know you. I mean, getting them to like you at some level. Again, don't have to be a compromiser. And getting them to trust you is a powerful, powerful thing. All of them biblical things. So why do we do that? Because the people respond better. Now, the 4 steps, I'll go through them again, touch on them here. We covered this one, previous video, create an acquisition event. Powerful thing, you can do that. The second one here is make KLT contacts with everyone involved. It has to come, of course, after the acquisition event. Now, the next 2 that we're going to cover are things that you can begin to work on even before the acquisition event. And here they are. It's this whole idea of creating this character-based training emphasis in your church with your children's ministry. And you can start that way ahead of time. We'll talk about how to do that. And then creating this fertile landing spot. These are steps that need to be taken as well, but can actually be begin to think on and work on. So make sure you make it to the next video. Make sure that you log on and find this. We will send this to you in the email, a link to it, because you're already on here. You can share this with your friends and get them to go, but make sure that you get that. Now, one thing I need to say, and I've got here my notes, I wrote it down here, okay? You may already be on this list, and I'm not sure, because this video is available in a lot of places. But we have this online training class called Reaching Young Families Through the Local Church. And it is in-depth training, far deeper than what we're talking about here. Lots more pictures, lots more details, printouts, bonuses on how to run the day camps, bonuses on communication cards, bonuses on all sorts of different things that we have done here and are proven techniques that we've trained in our things. That is going to be in the next video. These things, if you want to get hold of some of this online training course, we have an early bird VIP list. And you can sign up for that list. And you need to go to the link that is on the page where you're at, and it will get you there. I'll make sure we put this link there. It will get you, or you can email me at info@reachkeep.com, and I'll make sure you get there. But we want to get you on the VIP list, because that's where you're going to learn how to get the extra bonuses and how to get all the different stuff and when enrollment opens for the Reaching Young Families class. And so this video will be linked to that video, the next video, they'll all be linked together. You'll be able to get that. But on the bottom, there should be a link that will get you to the sign up page that will get you there. So I'll try to include that so that you can see that. We want to get you that insider information, special news, and we want to get you insider pricing so that you, now that you're like an alumni, you've been through our things. We've opened this up for people who've been through, and they've gotten our Facebook for Pastors or Facebook for Churches program that we've offered, that they've been to some of the Reach Keep conferences that we've trained. And now you're 2 steps through the 4-step program here. We want to get you to that too, and that is the special VIP sign up to get you on that early bird list. So this is Mike Holmes is the name, if you missed that, Mike at reachkeep.com, and I am very excited and very grateful to have you and have this opportunity to share this with all these churches and share this with all you folks that are out there. And so we will be praying for you. God bless you in your work there in your local community, and let's continue to reach out to these new young families. Let's be the blessing to them and get out there and do all that we can. So thank you so much. God bless. See you on the next video. All right, welcome back. Hey, I trust that you enjoyed that, and you'll be able to take your staff and your people, your deacons, your elders, whoever you work with there, your Sunday school teachers, and train them on some of those KLT concepts that we talked about. Some very powerful stuff, and go ahead and take some of these notes and work on training them so that your church makes those effective contacts out there. Now, hey, I want to stop for a moment and bring you up to speed on something. As you know, we've talked about this before in some of the other courses that we have. We have kind of a flagship course for those that are very serious about reaching new young families. And in fact, the name of our course is Reaching Young Families Through the Local Church. It's an online training course, and we want to invite you to be prepared for that. It's coming, and because you're watching this, you're already kind of in on the discounts that we've talked about. We've kind of added you into that already, and we're going to be able to take a couple $100 off of the price that we normally charge for this and be able to get this to those of you that are able to pay for this, and your church can buy this. It's a very serious college level type of a class, and we have dozens of folks that are going through it and are learning how to reach young families in their community through their local church, and we're excited about it. At the end of video 4, the day after that, you'll get an email that have a link, and we'll get you just to where you can actually purchase that. We just don't have it out on the open market right now. We want to take you through this. We want you to understand our heartbeat for why and how we are trying to train these things for you and help you reach people. And folks, what we're training is stuff that we've done. We are practitioners here. We focus. Our staff is dedicated to reaching young families and bringing them in. Just today, again, we had more young families coming to our church and asking, what can we do to be involved? And I'd like to help with the kids. I'd like to help with teens. I mean, it's just really neat stuff. And church is growing, and we're very excited about it. So you will get that opportunity in a few days. Well, it'll be actually in a few more days after you get the last video to purchase that. And you'll have about 4 days to make that decision to make that to invest, basically, is what it is, and to take some money, set it aside, and say, you know what, we're going to train our people seriously. Now, churches put all sorts of money into college, all sorts of money into seminary, thousands of dollars into curriculums and Sunday school curriculums. But those are not focused in the way that this is. This is focused, dedicated towards reaching young families. We'll give you all the tips and tricks and techniques and videos that you can download and use that. So enough of that. Folks, the world is filled with people, and I hope that when you get ready to start to reach out, that you really look out there in a very broad sense of all the people that are out there. You know, many church planters, when they start, they're very hopeful that they'll get someone from their denomination to move to the community, someone that really is on the same wavelength and they don't have to train too much. And I understand that. And we have had recently a family move in that is kind of on our wavelength. And it's like, oh, praise God, you know, it's a great thing. But that's not who we're really trying to reach. In fact, this course, if you're interested in just building a church through denominational type growth, then don't buy this thing. But if you're interested in reaching the hundreds and if not thousands of people that are out there that don't go to church, went to church a long time ago, raised in a religious home, raised in an irreligious home, raised, nothing at all. Out where we live, we have, of course, Latter-day Saints or Mormons out here, raised totally different. If you want to reach those kind of people, you've got to have an eye for that and not just looking for people, perfect people. You just got to look out there for just anybody. And folks, that you park in any Walmart or any store and just watch people come in and out, those are your members. Those are the folks that are going to be coming. And you're going to win them, and you're going to train them, and you're going to get them gloriously converted through the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic adventure. So I want to urge you to hang on here a few more days. You'll have this opportunity when the Reaching Young Families course opens up. But for now, let me go. You've got another video that's coming here in a few days. So God bless, and keep winning those folks through the local church. God bless. Thanks. Bye.